Update, folks. I went on the Yankee Marshals live stream the other night, and I wanted to explain to certain folks that didn't understand what I was talking about, like the secondary sear notch in the post upgrade pistols. So this right here is a secondary sear notch. Its purpose is to catch this striker hook. If for whatever reason it slips off the main sear and this safety has failed, for whatever reason, we know that safeties on guns can wear out, they can fail. That's not a SIG problem, that's not a Glock problem, it's not a 1911 problem, that's a gun problem. If they are neglected, if they're not maintained properly, depending on the gun, the design of the gun, whatever, springs wear out, safeties can fail, all that kind of stuff. So I believe, this is my theory, why they designed it this way, that if this striker safety fails, as a very last resort to prevent a cartridge from going off due to the sear slip, or the striker hook slipping off the sear, they added this secondary sear right here. You see this hook? If it slips off, it's supposed to grab that. Now, in my video, it is clearly skipping over that. It's clearly skipping over it. If it wasn't, it would be caught there and the primed case would not go off. Because people in the comments argued that, well, as soon as you start taking the take up, right here, the pre-travel, and you hit the wall, you are moving the striker safety disconnect lever out of the way. You are starting to move it out of the way. Now, there's some that theorize just taking up the pre-travel disengages the safety enough, which is, it's whatever. And then there's some that theorize once you go a millimeter in, the safety is already completely disengaged and ready to go. So if their theory is correct, and that's what was going on in my video, I submit to the folks that say that. I ask you a question. Then why didn't the secondary sear notch catch when it slipped off the primary sear? That's the question. Again, so that's what that is designed for. A couple things also. I got to look it in here. I got to tinkering around after the live stream because some folks weren't sure what that was. And so I said, let me just kind of speak about that. One thing I did notice is it seems like, now I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but the sear, it seems like the wear on this, it's pretty much center, but if you can see, let me see if I can get in there. See that shiny spot? That's where the striker hook is hitting when it comes back and it grabs onto it after firing. You can also see a rub on the secondary safety sear right here. And it looks like, if we can get it better, it looks like that corner has been chipped off and it looks like, or rounded over, and it looks like this is possibly rounded over here. It also looks like, and like I said, I would need a better camera. I tried to zoom in on this before we started, and the digital zoom is like grainy as hell and really difficult. If I can do it after I film this part, I might try to get it in and add it in here. But it looks like this is starting to round over. This is the corner of this sear. And again, that looks like the corner is rounded off and it's rounding over right there. And you can see where the striker hook is dragging all the way down. Now that could be when it's coming back. So as it fires and it's coming back and hitting that and pushing, it has to push this down to get it out of the way and come back and hook up. That could very well be what that is. But it looks like right there it's rounded and that corner is rounded a tad bit. I also wanted to point out, look at the, I can catch my thumbnail, see if I can get it to come through. Look at these like little on the rail here. See that on the rail? Also, as I was fiddling around with this gun, look at how much side-to-side play there is in the Sear. Does that have anything to do with it? I don't know. I don't feel, personally, in my opinion, I think that might affect the Sear to striker engagement, because look at the up and down play that we showed in this gun, but here's the back of it. Look how much, I just want you to look at how much space is right here and right here. And up and downs, and the up and down play right there. Look at up and down and side to side. Look at the side to side. Okay? Now, imagine where the Sear inside can float side to side. The slide can float up and down side to side. And so how do we know that the lockup, this is a whole nother side issue. I'm not saying this has anything to do with the alleged uncommanded discharges or anything like that. This is just a whole nother issue right here, potential issue. So what's to say that the gun can't lock up and it's locked to the right and the Sear is to the left, or cocked a little bit, or has room to float in there. And then you fire, and when it comes back down, it's sitting over on the left side, and you fire and it comes back into battery and it's sitting to the right side, and then the left side, and then lower, and then higher, and then up. This tolerance, again, like I was trying to explain, this tolerance matters in a striker fired gun. Okay, now, I know a lot of people that cope are like, all guns do that. No, all guns do not. Some are very tight, as I showed in the $200 Taurus, as I showed in the Walther PPQ. I really don't feel like getting out all my striker fired handguns because I have a lot of them. If you guys want to do it at home, do it. But here's a $200 TSAS, excuse me, a $189 TSAS PX9 Gen 3 Duty. This one has polymer rails in the back. This particular gun, kind of like an XD in that case. Look how much movement there is. Look how much side to side movement there is. There's a little bit. You need, it can't be completely tight. You need a little bit of tolerance in there but look at that. Look at that. Okay, now look at this. I had people in my comments say they called SIG customer service and asked them about that, and they were told that's completely normal, don't worry about it. Is that the case? You guys be the judge. Now, I didn't even open this up. I'm going to do this on camera and see if... All right. I want to show you something. There is very little, if any, side to side play on this Sear. And note, all right, just a little comparison here. All right, note how substantial this Sear is. And I'm not saying they had to go with this design, but look how small and delicate this thing is. Look how big and beefy that bastard is. Okay? But look at the, we talked about there's very little, if any, side to side. Now, again, look at this one. Oh, I probably have my hand in the way. Look at how much play. Side to side play is in there. Look at this. Look at this striker hook right here. Look at this safety. This is a $189 TSAS. Look at the size of that striker hook and look at this beefy, huge metal safety. And look at that Sear. They call this the Duty. So I would assume that they were going for a Duty rated handgun. And I just noticed it looks like maybe there's metal inside, but just the polymer on here. But barely any side to side movement. All right. Slide. Barely any play in it. I believe, it's my theory, that that movement has something to do with, could create potential issues that we saw before.